Hello and very, very good evening to all our viewers. Welcome to an all new episode of our Hen Live. I'm your host for the evening, Kunjan, brand expert and educator, and also the founder of CopyLove, a boutique brand strategy and copywriting firm. Today, of course, I represent Hen India, her entrepreneurial network, a networking platform for women led businesses where each of us hashtag belong with Hen, right? So Hen is a community of women entrepreneurs, everyone, which is focused on inspiring, informing, and supporting each other, all of us women, to build successful businesses along with balanced lives. Every week, we bring you one stellar Hen member who's making a difference in the entrepreneurial world and in their domain with their amazing work. Today, I have Reena Pavitran Krishnan with me, and we are going to be talking with her. Hi, Reena. Good evening.
Good
Reena is
evening.
joining us.
Thank you
Hi,
for
hi,
having
Reena.
me here.
An absolute pleasure, Reena. Give me a moment while I introduce you to our viewers, and then we'll get on and have a conversation. So, Reena, everyone, is a Bangalore-based textile designer and entrepreneur with nearly 3 decades of experience across design, production, sourcing, and global apparel markets. Trained at Sophia Polytechnic, Mumbai, she has founded her design studio way back in 1996 and has since then collaborated with Indian and international brands across countries and continents like Europe, US, and Australia. So prolific, Reena. Reena's work is rooted in comfort, fluidity, and thoughtful craftsmanship, reflecting the needs of the modern woman, like you and me, perhaps. A pioneer of slow fashion, she believes sustainability is not just a trend, but a practice that is shaped by everyday choices. And that's where her designs also balance the global relevance with grounded integrity, offering fashion that is intuitive, wearable, and built to last. Amazing, Reena. I'm so delighted to read out such a lovely introduction of yours, and you must feel so proud about it. So, definitely big congratulations on that, first of all.
Thank you so much. Thank you very
You,
much for giving me this opportunity to spread the word of sustainability and the
yeah,
women entrepreneur
yeah.
challenges that we face and how we women help each other. It's a brilliant session you would have. Enjoy.
Absolutely. I am so looking forward to conversing with you. Reena, before we deep dive into fashion and sustainability, do walk us through, first of all, your journey and especially your international presence. You've been through, been across and made your presence felt in so many different countries and continents. So just take us through our journey to take us through your journey briefly, and then we'll deep dive a little bit more about what your brand is all about.
So I have grown up in Bhilai, which is a steel city, where we
Mm,
are used to everything big. Our steel plant was big.
yeah.
And so when I did designing, I really enjoyed doing designing, but I wanted to be in a big factory. I was very clear.
Mm.
So I started by designing yarns with Gujarat Spinners Limited. And having a science background, it really helped me understand the intricacy of the fiber, etc., which I'm using now to define sustainability. So
Sure.
from there, I used to design interesting yarns and to promote and sell the yarns. We used to weave it and show the customers how they can use it, and the company
Mm,
used to sell the yarns. Then
mm,
from there, I was the first fashion coordinator at Park Avenue Raymond's,
mm,
where I learned the art of outsourcing because they were into suits, but Park Avenue started shirts, shoes,
mm,
belts, everything.
mm,
So I really enjoyed because I got the concept of outsourcing totally from there. Like, you
mm,
don't have to have your own thing to create what you are thinking of. So
mm,
today, when we are working with sustainability, that is of great help to me. And
mm,
then I had boutiques, I learned natural dyeing, I got married and learned natural dyeing in Ahmedabad. So Calico Museum, if anybody gets a chance, you must go there because they have these ancient fabrics. And when
mm,
I visited, I saw that the colors were very muted and very beautiful. Maybe
wow.
because it was gold, but I thought it
Mm,
was because it was natural dyed. And so
mm,
I learned the art from there in the Sarabhais, and they all used to practice natural dyeing.
right.
So I learned to do it and I can do it myself. Then
Mm.
we moved to Bangalore. I worked with Jason Cherry and a designer for a very long time. I supplied to a lot of exporters. Then I supplied
Mm.
to a lot of designers who were showcasing in fashion weeks. Being a
Mm.
textile designer, it was easy to give fabrics to people and they would convert it. It was like we give the painting and they frame it.
Wow.
But
Yes.
eventually, I started my own boutique, and I realized that running a boutique, running, handling people is a special skill which a designer need not have. So I
Yes.
escaped, and today I create my designs, but I empower a lot of whoever karigars have worked with me over a period of time. I can proudly say that everybody is doing well. So sustainability is that part, the economic part, is very seriously taken under my umbrella.
Mm.
Whoever has worked with me, they know that everything has to be finished properly. You cannot waste. You cannot do this. Oh my God, she's coming. She'll do this.
Beautiful.
So some slip out, but some work with us, continue to work with us. And that's
Mm.
how we are able to produce quality because as designers, it was our responsibility to see that the skill is not lost in our country.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
when I traveled once to a country and showed my stuff, they said, "Why don't you import it through Turkey? Why are you doing it through India? Because Indians dikhate kuch hai, late kuch hai." That really hurt. I said, how can they say that? So when we
Mm.
came back, we more than designing, our
Mm.
energy goes in telling our karigars and the people we work with to be authentic.
Mm.
Then when I started Repeat, I of course I was a pioneer with fast fashion for a long time. I knew
Mm.
how to make clothes cheap because the Mintra generation started and we were all supplying there. So every time cost had to come down, so we'll see, oh, I need an umbrella, but if I cut like this, it will be cheaper.
Mm.
So that
Mm.
happened for some time, and we were using rubbish fabrics because we wanted 30 rupees fabric instead of 60 rupee fabric. So they were all
Exactly.
plastic, polyester. And then COVID happened. That's when you
Mm.
are out of the rut and you're watching what's happening. And
Mm.
I was a member of the Karnataka task force, and there we were working
Mm.
very hard at the background.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
when I was very, very disappointed to see the real India. Our
Mm.
doctors did not have masks initially. They were using acetate sheets, and from Decathlon, we are giving them jackets instead of PP kits.
Correct.
This is very
Mm.
initially before everything could
Mm.
sort out. And all
Mm.
the people in TV and actors and all are carrying N95. So that's when we realized something was really not right. And we
Yeah.
saw a whole lot of things at that time.
Yeah.
And to cut it short, we started making cloth masks because in London, they came up, sorry, the United Nations came up with the three-layer mask, cloth masks. So
Mm.
immediately, sitting at home just by drawing out and through the lockdown, managed to
Mm.
design and create masks. And
How
a friend
phenomenal.
of mine, cloth masks. We were the first ones. We called it Mask On later.
Okay.
So friends took it and sold it to they donated a lot of masks to the police. Vicky Pro people helped me. A lot of
Mm.
people helped, and we sold masks left, right, and center everywhere. And by then, I think government had interfered, and the cost was controlled, everything was controlled, and things improved. But we
Mm.
did see, the worst at that time. Like we had to get PP kit, and we remember giving a COVID tax to the flight because this much volumetric stuff has come. And through that, we worked so hard and we did so much work that my revenue was really good that year. So somewhere it was maybe through GST or whatever it was recognized, and I got selected by the She Trades of United Nations for a
Amazing.
trade. So
Yes.
that year, She Trades had started talking about sustainability, and they had said that the next 10 years they are
Mm.
going to dedicate to promote sustainability.
Okay.
So that time I was trained about sustainability and sitting at home. We were watching a lot of TV, so we saw burning kangaroos,
Mm.
fires, we saw
Mm.
Bellarine Lake frothing in
Yeah.
Bangalore.
Yeah.
So, when we took a step back, we saw what's happening, and that really touched me. And because I had learned natural dyeing while I was in Ahmedabad, I could switch very easily. So the
Mm.
moment Street Trades said sustainability, I said, yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I started repeat.
Yeah.
And our first lot was, we were very hardcore, only natural dyes and only cotton. And we don't do this, we don't do that. Of course, there were people who came and asked me whether I use only organic cotton. I said, no, I don't use organic cotton because at that time, now I use. So, because
Sure.
at that time when I was trying to get organic cotton, somebody from Jaipur told me, Dhai, give me 2,500, I'll give you a certificate. So, here I'm waiting for certificate. We are working because we want to do something about it. That day I decided I'm not going to get any certificate. But I
Mm.
will do what I do and I will tell people that this is what it is. This is cotton. Our cotton was grey and we
Mm.
bleached it with manure. We did not
Mm.
use any chemical. Then we did natural
Mm.
dyeing and my first exhibition happened at Just Be.
Mm.
So Just Be was a skin store at that time and I did very well the first day. So I thought,
Mm.
Reena, you've made it fantastic and all. Just after that, the reality hit. Everyone says, wow, what a beautiful idea. But nobody wanted clothes which fade. Nobody wanted to spend that extra money. And slowly we realized that all the people who have bought our clothes are just our friends. And because
Mm.
I've stayed in so many cities, luckily I had many friends. So
Mm.
the reality stuck, and that's when NSR said, Hen introduced me. I must say that the founders of Hen pushed me and made me fill a form, and they sent me to NSR cell. They
Mm.
sent me to Cherry Blair Foundation.
Yeah.
So all these things again taught us about responsible entrepreneurship. So
Beautiful.
I don't want to go really up if I describe everything. But
Mm.
the crux is we went and we tried to do everything. Then came the three P's: people, planet, and profit. If there is no
Mm.
profit, how are you sustainable? So I
Mm.
was selected by the IKEA Foundation, and there were some boutiques in India. In India, what happens is whoever talks loud makes the law. So there were
True.
some boutiques who told me that, oh, you're not using organic, we are not taking you. I said, okay, don't take, and that's
Mm.
fine. But
Mm.
later I got to know when I met the IKEA Foundation people, they are the greener TechnoServe people. They
Mm.
said if you're not profitable, you're not sustainable. So they
Mm.
made me a we just sent out few questionnaires to all our existing customers to ask.
Mm.
Then we realized echo chorus. Everybody said the same thing. They didn't
Mm.
want to watch it separately. It
Mm.
was too much of a headache. They didn't like the fading of it. So I came
Mm.
back with this data and we sat and then we figured that organic fabric can be taken, but take fabrics which last because their carbon footprint was checked by the JPAL. They came to our office and they checked how much energy we are using. So when
Mm.
you take carbon footprint, you realize that your clothes have to last. If they don't last, then you're gone. So that
Mm.
is when we started working with factories to treat their dye after dyeing with azofree, which is a water based, which doesn't harm the skin or the people, and then they treat it. They treat the
Yeah.
effluent.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
started buying from them. But later we got to know that a lot of factories in India, they have these machines just to show, but they don't do. So
Right.
throughout our journey, we are so disappointed and we want the law to become more stringent. I am from Kerala, so lately we built a farmhouse in Kerala. So
Mm.
there I saw, my God, they are so strict. We had to dispose some bottles. I had to
Mm.
pay 450 rupees to give the bottle.
Mm.
Now, if you see that place, you'll see that they have, to some extent, segregated waste and they are conscious because
Yeah.
that is their livelihood. Kerala is
Yeah.
beautiful in
Yeah.
its own country because they can't afford to mess.
Correct.
But in Bangalore, nothing is at stake. So
Yeah.
unless there are laws which come up,
Yeah.
nothing is
Yeah.
going to happen. And we, in our fashion, today what we
Mm.
are doing is we are very honest. So we tell
Mm.
them that this is what you're buying. This is
Mm.
good for you. This is linen, but we have done digital dyeing. But I
Yeah.
don't touch polyester.
Yeah.
Then what happened is I went to Abu Dhabi for a United Nations Financial Sustainability Week. Everybody was talking sustainability, all the countries, and all the people were wearing polyester jackets. So I was saying, you guys are talking sustainable, and how are you all wearing polyester? So that
Mm,
is when that you cannot become sustainable overnight.
absolutely.
Sustainability is a journey. You plan
Absolutely.
it.
Mm,
You will get there. You will get
mm,
there at some point of time, but be
mm,
conscious and be aware of
mm.
what you're doing. So
Correct.
take your baby steps and do. Though I was not very happy because they were talking about a sustainable plant in Vietnam called Daiku.
Mm, mm,
Daiku does waterless dyeing. Now, I am a
mm,
science person and I'm technical. I know that if it is waterless dyeing, I ask them how do they do it. They do it with
mm,
carbon dioxide gas. Now,
mm,
if you have put anything into a fiber without water, it has to be
mm,
high temperature. High
mm,
temperature means polyester. So
mm,
I question now what happens to the microfiber.
mm.
We're talking about cotton that takes so much water, so it's not sustainable. But here you are pushing waterless dyeing, but it is producing microfibers. So when you
Right.
start looking at things like if you look at an aeroplane, if you
Mm,
make it if you don't make it with plastic and you make it with something else, you will
mm,
use more fuel. So
mm.
everything is connected. So right now we are at a stage where we have to put in a lot of efforts in material science, where
Sure.
we understand and then blockchain. Like
Mm,
in rainy season, I cannot
mm.
say that I'm sustainable. I don't use plastic while supplying to Bombay.
Correct.
I be worried how it will reach. So then there is a thing in sustainability that you can use 50 above 50 micron because those plastics can be recycled. Now
Mm,
many of the people are not aware of it. So some
mm.
shops will not they're having exhibitions. Don't bring plastic. But that is not the point. The point is you have to have you have to be very conscious about what you're doing and
Yeah.
look at the blockchain. Where is your plastic going?
Yeah.
So we are taking our baby steps and we are getting there, but slow and steady.
Amazing. Amazing, Reena. You've like captured so much and such a long journey. You've captured it so beautifully for us. And what I also noted and what was exciting is that while capturing the whole story, you've subtly dug out various elements around greenwashing, around sustainability, and how global agendas they sound a certain way, but people are living it out a certain way, right? So that I found especially very interesting. I will deep dive into that, but before that, a few hi backs to our audience. Kajal, Anushka, Pooja, Lilia, thank you so much for writing in, for sending your hellos to us. I also agree with Priyanka, who spoke about uh, Priyanka, who spoke about how fascinating your journey was, right? So, absolutely, I echo the same thoughts. So, thank you so much, everyone, for participating so heartily into our conversation. Reena, I absolutely want to quickly now deep dive into a key conversation around slow versus fast fashion, and how easy or difficult is it to really adapt it in our normal lives, and what are the things that we can really become more conscious of and move to better practices really.
Luckily we are living in a place where there are all strata of people.
Yes.
So, A is your agenda. Like, I want to bring in sustainability, but if I have to bring a change in climate right now, majority
Yes.
have to use it. But
Yes.
if the majority have to use it, I have to create a FOMO. To
Mm.
create a FOMO, I have to give it to the elite. Then
Mm.
it percolates. There is a cycle. If you look at it, there is a cycle. So you have to create a certain thing. Then you have to
Mm.
bring, you have to sustain, you have to
Mm.
talk about it. So to make it easy, there is only one way: be creative. Keep
Right.
creating, be yourself, and
Right.
slow and fast doesn't matter. In sustainability, I can create fast numbers also because
Mm.
I know my science. I know, but within there is fast fashion because you're saying buy one get one free, and the kids are wearing it and they're throwing their clothes out. But
True.
if we start wearing it again and again, and I must be wearing this some 10th time. My clothes are
Mm.
classics and it last many years. So you
Yes.
have to be yourself, you have to talk, you have to spread the word. So
Yes.
wherever policy makers are there, just barge in and try talking to them and push it as much as you can. And there is nothing, I mean, okay, slow fashion is interesting, whatever. Even the fast fashion, if a blockchain is maintained and you
Mm.
see that, okay, you're either buying it back or you're selling it somewhere,
Mm.
even fast fashion can work. The
Mm.
reality is we have to, like, suddenly the government is saying we are going to be this much carbon positive. Then
Mm.
election comes, they want vote, so Surat is left out. We are giving preference to artificial fibers because we want to create jobs. So
Correct.
it is inevitable. You have to do
Correct.
this and that because you can't
Correct.
leave them out. A person who's making plastics for, like, his generations are doing that. Suddenly you
Correct.
can't tell him to stop. It's your responsibility to make sure that he has something else before he moves.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it is very, very important to understand the blockchain, to
Mm.
find people wherever required, to
Mm.
bring in discipline. All
Mm.
these small, small things are important. And for us designers, be as creative as possible. Create
Mm.
interest in your product. Let people wait to see what we are coming up with next. And
Correct.
slowly but surely it works.
Correct.
I started, I must tell you this. So the first few rounds was only natural, I'm natural, I'm natural. Then I started bringing chemical, the
Mm.
SOP, the safe ones. And
Mm.
we have put the and those were priced at 999 and the rest were 255. And also I was waiting
Yeah.
999 to fly off the shelf. I still
Yeah.
have those pieces. They did not fly off the shelf.
Mm.
When you do that and see,
Mm.
you understand that people also
Mm.
want good stuff. They also want to be, but you have to meet the right people. You have
Correct.
to talk to the right people. Everyone is not your customer.
Very,
And
very sensible point.
anyway, one person cannot make it for the whole world. You can't afford to. You have the bandwidth only for that much. So please
Absolutely.
understand your market and just talk to them. Make it for them. And wherever you get a chance to talk about it, like how you have given me a chance, spread the word.
Yes, yes. That reminds me, a shout out I forgot to give to Hen Founders, since you said that they were so crucial in shaping your journey in terms of NSR Cell, in terms of Cherry Blair. So, an absolute big shout out to Hen before I move on to my next question. Right, absolutely, Priyanka. Arena's passion does shine through. Arena, you mentioned about the pricing element and some elements around running your business. Right now, somebody who's as somebody who's not only a pioneer in sustainable fashion but also somebody who runs a successful business in this. Right, how do you really balance ethical production with all the various demands and commercial expectations such as pricing, delivery, scale? I'm sure anybody who's a fashion entrepreneur right now dabbles with the same question. So any light that you can throw on it was going to be so helpful.
See, I'm lucky that I've spent 30 years in the industry. So there
Hmm.
is some credibility in the background.
Yes.
Like, I would take names like big companies taking, who are just buying over companies and all. They
Right.
can make 30,000 pieces. For
Hmm.
me, somebody told me, Reena, stop a stop, will take you, come in. So I wanted to go in, but then I didn't have 25 lakhs to just make the stock.
Hmm.
And they say SOR. SOR is sale or return. So you spend 25 lakhs, you put in the stock, and it comes back to you. At my level, I can't do anything with that. So I said, no, sorry, I can't do it.
Correct.
So because I don't have my factory, I started getting export inquiries of products. This is very interesting. Like, all the exporters are taken away by all the big factories. But
Hmm.
sometimes there are these difficult designs which
Hmm.
they want only in small quantities. So these
Hmm.
big guys cannot do it. So by
Hmm.
default, such orders started coming to me.
Hmm.
There was this thing in US, and we have done all kinds of circles to the
Hmm.
extent we have once supplied indigo. Not the, I mean, we thought it was natural indigo. We did it with acid dyes and did
Acha.
uh,
Sure.
tie-dye and sent and to Mandala in Germany.
Hmm.
There we heard that the model wore it and sat in a car with white leather seat and it became blue. So, So we faced everything, but during that time, we of course gave a thing that, color might run. We would tell everything and then supply. So we were safe. But we have faced so much with so many karigars. There are
Hmm.
some who understand our journey.
Hmm.
So I might approach 20, all the factories in Bangalore might be known because,
Hmm.
and many for good and many may not be even liking me. But
Hmm.
I can't be bothered. I go look for who I want.
Hmm.
And there are some who like it because I'm teaching a new thing to them.
Yeah.
Most of the factories work with me because they know that their skill will improve
Hmm.
once they work with us.
Hmm.
And they proudly call and tell me that आपका sample लेके मैं गया था मेरे को इतना order मिला, and I'm very happy. I said, okay, you finish, you go become independent, the next one comes in. So throughout my journey, maybe because I was a visiting faculty with all the colleges, this
Right.
teaching thing is there ingrained in me. When
Right.
my children were born, I was working from home. One bedroom was office where I trained all my maids, daughters to do tie dye, and we used to do very good shibori once upon a time because I taught all of them. That was the only thing I could do. So
Hmm.
most of the time, I can call it as victim of circumstances. But the passion, I never, because of the passion, I never stopped.
Hmm.
And all the people, I can very, very confidently say that all the karigars who work with me today have reached somewhere. And I feel very, very proud to see that. So now
Wow.
when I go
Wow.
back, they sit and listen to me. So I tell them, कि ये waste मेरे को, all the side cuttings I need it in a bag because we convert them into posters, zero waste. So they might throw away all the others, but mine will be there. But somewhere I've started something. Eventually, it's very easy. Tomorrow, everybody comes and tells them their
Hmm.
wiring is ready. They can be
Hmm.
sustainable. So
Hmm.
during your journey, try to create as much impact as possible. A
Hmm.
lot of people tell me, when you don't have money, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But we do a lot of B2B where we
Sure.
get money and, without any funding, we have managed to come this far.
beautiful.
1%, but not than that.
Sure, of course. Clearly, all these beautiful, karigars who've learned so much from you are the true wealth that you really earned, right, from your business. And, the fact that they are taking forward your learning so beautifully. That's, I'm sure, the most amazing part. You've shed light on so many elements, Reena, and as rightly said, your passion and your excellence and your experience really shines through. It's an absolutely amazing conversation that we are having with you. More, I absolutely invite all our viewers, in case there are any questions, do pin them, and we'll be happy to take them. Uh, I have put together a rapid fire for you, Reena, and it will be a great moment to just hear a few things from you. So these are just very, very simple questions from your industry, but just your very, spontaneous answers are really going to add value, right? So one fabric you love, you want to quickly
Cotton.
share? Cotton.
Cotton.
Yes, I'm sure, especially given India and its tropical climate. Lovely.
Yeah.
So, craft over trend or trend over craft, what would you say?
Creative craft.
Oh, nice. I like that.
You create new stuff, but use the crafts.
Yes, yes, absolutely. One myth about sustainable fashion that you wish to break now that you have the stage to yourself.
No one can claim that they are 100% sustainable. When
Nice.
we breathe, what do we send out?
Mm,
Carbon dioxide. When you deliver, what comes out? Greenhouse gases. So you
mm,
can never be carbon neutral,
mm,
100%.
It can
Everywhere
only
there
be
is a
delivered.
degree. So you
Mm,
try attempting as much as you can. You can't just, we have a lot of, you hear these snob conversations where, oh, we are just this, we are just that. No, you can't be just this or just that. You
correct.
can be step by step, you can be a certain percentage better than what you were yesterday.
Yes,
Slowly
yes.
you can get there.
Yes, yes. I think that's a really wise and practical one coming from somebody who deals with it on a daily basis, right? Ritu, thank you so much for your kind words. Last two more questions for you, Reena, before we wrap up. As you grow your organization, If you were on the crossroads of legacy or scale, which one would you choose?
Scale.
Oh, lovely. Nice. And the last one, which I'm sure everybody is going to look forward to and everybody would want to acquire as a habit, is what is one habit that every conscious consumer should adapt?
The understanding that you have to leave a responsible planet for the next generation.
Wow.
You have to follow all the five things like people, planet,
Mm.
prosperity. Whatever you create, you have to teach the next generation to prosper in that. Why are our karigars roaming out? Why are they all losing out on things? Because their children are all going for software engineering.
Mm.
So you have to make sure that they prosper and it lasts. Then
Mm.
partnerships, you can't do everything alone. You have to understand how you can be a partner, how you
Yeah.
can be a partner with another country. What happened to
Yeah.
us with all the tariffs and things? That's not sustainable.
It's true.
And peace. What are we doing? So for me, this five P is very important. And that
Beautiful.
was sustainable goal also for 2030 by the United Nations. But where
Beautiful.
is peace? I don't know. I don't want that these five things everywhere within us, within states, within politics, within designers, everywhere.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Reena. So, audiences, instead of one good habit, Reena has been so generous and given us five different habits based on the five P's that each of us can, take up and acquire and become more conscious consumers and citizens of the world. And that's what our world needs today more than anything. Thank you, everyone, and absolutely such a positive end to a lovely conversation. Thanks to you, Reena. Thank you so much for your time and all your wisdom. We absolutely loved hosting you today. And to our audiences, we will see you next Wednesday with
Thank you.
another
Thank you.
conversation, another HEN member. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.